Hello, viewers, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And we are taking a look on what's happening in the nation of Zimbabwe without fear, without favor. One of the most important things or decisions made by President Nelson Chamisa is that since 2018, 2019, up to this day, including 2023, he has refused to spill blood for him to take over power. What is happening in Mozambique is something which is tragic and, it's very, very dangerous. And also, it affects the people more than it affects politicians. Because the day the opposition will get into power, they will have to fix everything, which means the people will be left with no schools, with no public infrastructure, everything, and the government will have to start rebuilding it again. So I want to agree with my brother, Alistair Chibanda, right here. He raises some key issues. He says what is happening in Moza today is what Nero didn't want to see in Zim. He's giving his own opinion, and I agree with his opinion to some extent. Protests, number one, they result in loss of lives. In 2018, we know the soldiers came with live ammunition, shot at people, including some who were not even protesting. In fact, the people who died in 2018 were not protesting. In 2019, they did the same. The soldiers came onto the streets, they shot people dead using live ammunition. So we lose lives simply because of protests. So this is a two-way issue. Number one, it's either both parties will restrain, or one party will have to restrain, or both parties will then lose it and let blood spill. But there is no guarantee that after losing lives, you will take over power. Look at what happened in Kenya. There were deadly protests which happened in Kenya. After so many weeks of protest or so many days of protest, the president of Kenya survived. He's still there. What is happening in Mozambique at this point in time, we have seen these deadly protests which were triggered by the killing of the opposition lawyer and member again. And we have seen so many people being killed, over 100 people killed so far. And during the same period where protests are happening on daily basis, we've seen the Constitutional Council coming out publicly disregarding the protests which are happening, the message which is being sent, and they've declared a loser a winner. Which means these people, they do not care about the consequences. They do not care about how many people are going to die. They care about protecting their own interests. They care about power. Which means to them, they would rather govern walking on top of the graves. And now that the numbers of the people shot down, have gone up, it's very, very difficult now for Venanzio to call people to calm down and not to protest. Because even if he chooses today to say, stay away from the protest, people will still go to protest because they are angry. That is something which is very important. So by stopping or by not triggering the protests, that is the greatest thing you could do. But at a certain point in time, we need to understand that when time is right, you will see people getting into the streets, people protesting. It's about time. Then another issue is that infrastructure is destroyed. So police stations are being burnt, various public places are being vandalized, and that is not good. So if the destruction then is targeted on private residences of government leaders, it would be understandable. But I've seen in other places they are burning schools, something which is not right, something which is wrong. We do not burn schools simply because we are angry, we are tired, or whatever. Let us, it's good to mobilize in other ways. It's good to protest in other ways, but not then get to the point of burning your own infrastructure, which you need public infrastructure. But protesters are left with no option again when they are being shot dead, and the only ammunition is there, which they have, is to destroy infrastructure. That is the something which is very important. So when the protesters do not have anything else to touch, to coerce those in leadership to come onto the table, they then use infrastructure, and that infrastructure is public infrastructure. That is the biggest problem which we have right there in Mozambique. So President Nelson Chamisa has done a lot when it comes to the issues of peace. The peace we enjoy in Zimbabwe is because of the man called Nelson Chamisa. He's a man who managed to calm several storms. He's a man who could even declare today, kuti tavhara Zimbabwe and Zimbabwe shall be closed. There is nothing they will do. If I was to deploy my soldier this time around, it's a very, very difficult situation, very, very difficult task. So, in as much as we thank President Nelson Chamisa for saving lives, for saving infrastructure, you cannot rule out the citizens of Zimbabwe going into the streets themselves. Why? It's because we have seen continuous harassment of our freedom fighters. We've seen continuous arrests of people who have not committed crimes. We've seen ZANU-PF is actually bragging with everything they do. They are simply bragging as if they are untouchables. That is what is going to likely trigger the Mozambique situation right in Zimbabwe. If the things continue the way they are, then there is a problem. And also, you can actually see that ED is continuously touching the nerves of some powerful people. You see, all because they want to be in power forever and ever. A very sad situation. So we pray for the people of Mozambique, and we just hope that God will hear them. God will mend the situation right there in their country. So this is what we have for you, and to some extent I agree with my brother Alistair Chibanda. But I say ruling parties, the moment they become enemies to the people, they start by fighting the opposition. They start by declaring the opposition as illegal political parties. They will declare them puppet of the West. They will say all sorts of names. That is so wrong. So it's up to the leadership of Mozambique to do the right thing. Venanzio is actually doing what is right. Is doing what he believes in. And it's up to the Mozambican authorities so far to actually step in and prefer a political solution. The solution is to bring Monjane to lead government in Mozambique. He won that election, but these charlatans will never agree or will never accept. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Let us continue to watch and see what is happening right there in the nation of Zimbabwe. Grace, my sister, thank you very much for coming. How are you? This side, we are okay. And lastly, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. You know, we have traveled a very, very long journey together from January to December. We have been together, and you have been supporting us through and through, in and out. And it's a good thing to do. So I'm appealing to the people of Zimbabwe right now, those who are willing to partner with us. We have 5 Form 1 kids who we want to send to school for 2025. We always do these scholarships, but this year, because of the situation, the economic situation in Zimbabwe, we were not able to raise enough funds for us to have a new group of kids to go to school. So we are appealing for books, we are appealing for uniforms, we are appealing for fees, so that these kids are able to go to school. You know, we normally go to the most vulnerable families. We pick up kids from there and we support them, we sponsor them. So this time around, I'm asking for well wishers, people who would want to adopt some of these kids to help us. Just get in touch with us on the numbers appearing on the screen so that we are able to send these kids to school. Yes, we know that these schools are bad, which we have right here in the countryside, but the few things they will learn will help them. So it's something which is very, very important to note. So we have 5 kids which we have already identified so far, who need sponsorship, and their families have nowhere to start. You know, the biggest problem we've had in villages is that you see these young girls getting married early, because once she leaves the school because of fees, the next thing is you hear that she is now a maid somewhere. The next thing you hear is that she is now pregnant for someone. The next thing you hear is that she has been married, and the cycle continues. So I'm appealing to those who can assist, to those who can buy exercise books for these kids, for those who can buy uniforms for these kids. Anything you can do, please get in touch with me so that we help them to go to school in the year 2025. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Let us meet in other episodes and other broadcasts.